Welcome to Unleash the Awesome with Dave Gambrill. All of us have unique skills, talents, and abilities that aren't being used to their full potential. Our mission is to share the people, tools, apps, and other resources that will help you unleash your awesome on the world.
Yo, what's up? It's Dave. Welcome to another episode of Unleash the Awesome. Today, let's talk about how the economic seas might get a little choppy, but you are firmly in control of the set of your sail. Yes, the economic future here, near future, as I record this podcast in the middle of July 2022, looks like the economic seas are going to get a little choppy. There's some headwinds. We've got some inflation going on, some other stuff happening. Stock market's a little up and down, a little all over the place. But instead of complaining about it, instead of worrying about it, you can do some things right now to give yourself some flexibility and some freedom to not only survive, but thrive throughout and on the other side, especially on the other side of the chaos, right? If you've never listened to Jim Rohn, I highly suggest you go listen to him. He has and it's Rohn, Jim Rohn. He has on Audible something called the Complete Jim Rohn Library. And unfortunately, Jim passed away years ago. And I used to listen to his cassette tapes back in the day. And I had a bunch of his CD collections. I used to play them in the car a lot when I was driving the kids back and forth to daycare or soccer practice or whatever. My kids can actually do pretty good imitations of Jim Rohn, which is great because they remembered a lot of his stuff. But he has a lot of timeless fundamental trainings. And he did this training frequently about, there's seasons. There's seasons in not only our life, but there's seasons in the world at large, right? And so he would talk about, what do you do when it's summer? What are you doing when it's fall? What are you doing when it's spring? What are you doing, blah, blah, blah. When it's winter, what are you doing, right? And he would use all these analogies about other animals, about how other animals know that the fall or the harvest time doesn't last forever. So what do? They go and collect things and then they put stuff away. If you watch squirrels, right? Squirrels will go find all the nuts and then hide them for the winter time. So then they can eat them in the wintertime or even in the spring, right? And the squirrels will hide so many. I'm not an animal specialist or anything, but just watching them around my house, they will hide so many because they forget where all of them are, but they hide so many that they're bound to find some when they need them, either in the winter or spring or whatever, right? So they plan ahead. Ants plan ahead, right? So I talk about mammals, but insects plan ahead too. They know like this time is not going to last forever. We need to do something now. So right now, as I'm recording this podcast, the headwinds are getting a little crazy. There's a lot of predictions that things are going to get a little crazier, maybe a little worse if you want to use an adjective to describe it. So like, what could you do? And so Jim Rohn used to do this whole thing and talk about the winter and the fall and the spring and the harvest time and all that jazz. And so, we're probably headed into an economic winter if you look at some of the stuff that's forecast out there. And so instead of freaking out about it or watching the news about it, blah, 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 you could do something that Jim Rohn also says. He would often say, the same winds blow on all of us. It's up to us to determine the set of our sail. And that's where I got the title for today's podcast episode. So what I mean by that right now is, yes, there's some things you could do. You can hunker down a little bit. And listen, I am not a financial expert. This is for information and background and entertainment only. Do not take specific advice from me because I do not know your situation. I'm just giving some ideas and examples. But you could be maybe putting more money in a cash position, but then with inflation up at 8-9%, you're probably losing some money there. So there's probably some smarter things you could do with it. There's some lower risk investments that you could be making just to make sure that your money is not losing its spending power. So instead of just sitting it in a savings account or in a mattress or under your bed or whatever, there are some things you can be doing. I'm not going to give you specific examples, but if you talk to your financial advisor, they could probably help you with that. But what I really wanted to get at today was this idea of monetizing your expertise online. There's never been a better time in the history of the world for you to take something that you know and sell it. Sell the framework, sell the instructions, sell the how-to, sell the demonstration, sell sometimes a finished product. You can share with people how to create certain things and then maybe even sell the finished product. So maybe you're doing like crochet stuff and you do instructions on how to crochet. I saw an ad the other day from this company. I wish I could remember what it's called, because I'm not typically targeted with crocheting stuff because I don't do that. But it was like a beginner's crochet kit, and it was like instructions on how to crochet these like tiny little, like a dinosaur and something else. And they send you the instructions and they send you the materials that you need to create it, right? And I don't know who started this thing. Maybe it's a big company. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. But like somebody was like, oh, let's teach people how to crochet and let's do this thing where we sell these kits and people can learn how to do it. You could teach people how to do anything that you've figured out how to do or anything that you've watched people do, and you could deconstruct it and teach it, right? And now there's so many ways to do it. Instagram just added a whole bunch of ways for you to monetize your stuff online. You could have people be paid subscribers. You could do it on YouTube where there's paid subscribers there. You could do it on something like Kajabi, where I host a lot of my courses and membership groups. So you could create courses, you could create mini courses, you could create memberships, which are just ongoing opportunities to build a community and teach people certain things. So maybe like in this crochet example, you teach people how to get started, and then maybe each month you send them more challenging patterns and the equipment that they would need or the materials that they would need to complete those things. And then maybe you do a Zoom call, once a month or something, where you talk about that pattern and some of the trouble that people might be running into, and you can actually do a live demonstration and show people on the Zoom call, like, oh, this is how you do it this way, or this is how you loop it, or this is how you do this knot, or whatever. Clearly, I don't know what I'm talking about, but specifically about crochet. But you could do stuff like that. So it doesn't need to be the stuff that you are quote an expert in. It doesn't need to be the stuff that you like went to college to get a degree for. It doesn't need to be something that you do for a full-time job. This could literally be anything. I met this kid at a conference a few weeks ago, and he is making a lot of money. Now, obviously his parents are helping him. I think he's 8, but he's making a lot of money with Minecraft, and he's doing YouTube videos and stuff on and he does a lot of streaming on Minecraft, and he shows other kids how to build the stuff on Minecraft. And then he has a membership or subscription thing where he's getting paid to show people how to do these advanced level things in Minecraft. So most of the time, you're going to be successful if you launch something in health, wealth, or relationships. Those 3 things people will spend money on even when an economy is down. However, you can also, if you do it right, make a lot of money teaching people about hobbies. So if it's not an expensive hobby, right? So we're not talking about skiing or golf or something where you have to pay all these fees every time you go do something, or lift tickets, or buy, $1,000 skis, whatever. But if it's something smaller, if it's something like where the kids could buy the software, Minecraft or whatever, or get access to Fortnite, which is free, and then you stream and you show people how to play those games or do those things, once they have the gaming system in the game, there's really no cost associated generally with up-leveling in those things. Although I get it, you can buy skins and stuff in Fortnite. But my point is, you could teach a class on how to up-level really fast in Fortnite or whatever, right? Because people, generally what's going to happen is if the economy does compress a little bit and people aren't out there spending their disposable income because they don't feel like they have it, they'll revert to stuff they already know, stuff they already have access to. You could be teaching stuff about strategies for board games, or how to host family fun night or family board game night with your family, or whatever. You could do a whole thing about low cost entertainment options for families with small children. And you could do like a membership group where you charge $20 a month or something, $10 a month. And you say, hey, each week I'll send out some new ideas and whatever. So yeah, it's going to cost these people $10. But if you're coming up with creative ideas each month that will help them entertain their families without having to take them out to the movies or take them to a theme park or take them out eating or whatever, which is going to cost, hundreds of dollars each time they go out, they'll love that. And so you can monetize any of this stuff. I think sometimes, especially if you've been in your career for a while, people just don't think this is possible, or they think like, that's not for me, or I could never do that. I'm here to tell you, friends, I've been doing this now for a really long time, teaching people how to do stuff online, whether it's digital marketing or leadership or personality assessments, right? Those are the top 3 things that I tend to do still, but I've been doing all kinds of stuff, teaching people how to build their email list, all of this. And that was not stuff I went to school for. That was not stuff that I was classically trained in. Like, I've just figured out how to do it online, and then people would ask me about it, and then a couple more people asked me about it from different spheres of influence, right? So it wasn't just the same people from the same group. And I was like, wait, this might be an opportunity. So a takeaway for you right now, if you're listening, is if you do something and it comes very easy to you, and you're thinking to yourself, why would somebody pay for this? Like, can't everybody do this? This is so easy. That is your first hint that you could probably monetize that, because that is a skill for you. That is something that you've acquired. That's some knowledge that you have. And I can almost guarantee you that no, not everybody could do that thing. And if you're good at it and you like it, then you could probably teach it, and your enthusiasm will definitely sell it. The second thing I would say is if you do this thing on a pretty consistent basis and then people are asking you about it. So maybe you're a stay-at-home parent, mom, dad, whatever, and like you seem to be at all the kids' things and you have everything organized and you show up on time and your kids are never the last one to get picked up from practice, and your kid always has whatever equipment they need for soccer practice, and you sign up to be the halftime refreshment provider more often than everybody else. Like, you just seem to be on your game. And the other parents are like, well, how do you do that? How do you figure that out? How do you do that? You're like, well, I have a system. I use this app, or I use Trello, or I use whatever. You could actually start like a membership group where you charge $10 a month. And I'm just throwing numbers out here. You could probably charge a lot more, but for some people, they're like, oh, no way I could charge $97 a month. So I'm starting low in these examples on purpose. But you could charge $10 to say, like, you call it like how to be an organized parent, how to organize the home, whatever. And people would pay for that because they don't like the embarrassment of their kid missing something. Their kid certainly doesn't like the embarrassment of not being prepared. And all it takes is once for them to want to avoid that, right? That's a painful thing. By the way, here's a hint if you're still listening. In times of economic uncertainty, you will often want to position your stuff in such a way that it's helping people avoid pain, right? And if people are uncertain about the economy, they will pay for things that will help them avoid pain. They won't always pay for things that are moving them more towards pleasure. And as a human being, that's really the only thing we do. We either move closer to pleasure or move further away from pain. And in your marketing, in your messaging, in your copywriting, in your emails, in your social media content, whatever, I would focus, especially in an economic uncertain time, on some of those helping people get away from pain stuff, all right? So in this case, you might talk about, hey, really cool to be organized, whatever, but like, how embarrassing is it to forget to pick up your kid from practice and you got to get called by the coach? Or how bad does it suck when your kid doesn't have these stuff that they needed and they didn't have a great experience and now they have a total meltdown when you come to pick them up? Like, that stuff sucks, right? Well, so join my Organized Parents membership. It's $10 a month, and I'm going to show you how I use a free app on my phone called Trello, and I'm going to go through all these steps, blah, blah, blah. I'm just making that example up, but Trello is pretty cool, by the way. I'll put the link to that. I don't have an affiliate link, but I'll put a link to it in the show notes for you so you can access it. I do a lot of my project management stuff, both personal and professional on there. But my point in all of this, and using these it seems like very strange examples, is you have information. There's stuff that you do. There's hobbies that you're involved in. There's like some expertise that you have that people might not even know that you're an expert in. But again, if you start showing up online and just teaching people and sharing your information through all these channels we have right now, hell, you could start a podcast on something called Anchor right now, today, using your phone, a podcast about any of this stuff, or how to play Dungeons and Dragons, or how to rebuild a carburetor, or whatever, how to do landscaping, how to do landscape planning, how to think about interior design, how to think about listing your home if you are looking to sell it, and what you need to consider and what are some of the upgrades. And so maybe you're a real estate agent, and maybe where you are, the real estate market's getting a little choppy because mortgage rates are going up a little bit and you're looking for another way to create some revenue. You create this thing about how to think about selecting a real estate agent, and then how to do when you're listing your house or when you're looking to buy a house. What are some things you should be looking for? And you could, yes, give away some checklists to help build your email list as lead magnets, they're called, or opt-in magnets, or you could sell courses. So maybe this is not a recurring thing, but maybe you sell a course for like $297 on how to think about selecting an agent, how to think about staging your house, how to think about home improvements that you should be making prior to selling your house, whatever. I could sit here. So I've been talking now for 14 minutes and 26 seconds. I could literally sit here and talk for like 8 hours on ideas and concepts. And I'm telling you, like, and what started this whole little rant here was that I know some of you are like, but not my thing. Listen, I've been to so many events, and I'm in so many communities where people are creating courses and businesses, especially online. So digital courses and memberships and other stuff like that. So like my friends, James Wedmore has a community. Amy Porterfield will teach you through Digital Course Academy, how to build courses. And she'll be actually hopefully on this podcast soon, have an episode from her. Jeff Walker and his product launch formula, like all these communities. I'm in the Kajabi community, the Clickfunnels community, been to Funnel Hacking Live a number of times. And every single time I go to one of these events or I'm in these communities while they're launching their stuff, they give these examples of things that I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. There's this woman named Heidi, and if I can find her stuff, I'll put it in the show notes for you. She makes a lot of money teaching people how to do decorative door hangers. I didn't even know this was a thing, decorative door hangers. There's a guy called the Herb Mentor or something. He'll teach you how to pick plants outside and eat them safely, which I'm not going to recommend you do any of that stuff, and make sure you consult with somebody specifically on that because you could kill yourself if you eat the wrong thing. But, it's like gets into medicinal plants and things like that. And I was like, wow, I didn't even think that was a thing. But he has a whole course on it. He has a whole membership on it. He has a whole community built around it. I did an episode. If you don't think there's a community for whatever it is you're thinking about, I'll definitely link this in the show notes for you. I did an episode of this very podcast on, I think the title is How to Do Free Market Research with Amazon, YouTube, etc., and so on. If you have any doubt about the thing that you want to teach or you think you could teach, I would encourage you to go listen to that episode. It's more tactical than this one. This is more high-level strategy. But in there, I give you some very specific advice of like, here's what I would do. I would go to Amazon and I would search some keywords around whatever it is you want to teach. And if you see that people have written books about it or there's products about it, they're like, okay, there's a market for it. And then I share some other things you could be doing, go into other sites with that information and learning about what the problems are, what the challenges are, what the niche is, right? And so that if you see that, that's a good sign. Many people will say, well, no, that's a crowded market. I mean, some markets are super crowded and people overemphasize the idea of blue ocean strategy, right? Going out where there's, no people selling anything. If you try that, if you try to go into a quote blue ocean, you'll drown because nobody's paying to solve those problems or to have that pleasure or whatever it is out there. So go listen to that episode and you'll hear some of the stuff about how to research it. And then you can figure out where you want to position yourself in that market. And if you want to position yourself the same way other people are doing it, but you're just a different voice approaching it from a slightly different way, then go for it. Guess how many people there are online that will teach you how to do online courses? A lot. Now, there are some people that are the gold standard, but there are literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of people who will teach you how to build a course online or a membership or whatever. Now, when it comes to building a membership, again, I can tell you who the gold standard person is. But some people are not ready to invest in a $2,000 course or a $5,000 coaching program or whatever. So if you want to teach something that's at a lower price point and help people that are a little earlier in their belief about launching something like this, then go for it, especially if you do your research, like I teach in that episode, and you see that there's a market there for it. So the purpose of this entire episode has been you can take control, right? Yes, the economic seas might get a little choppy. There might be some headwinds, but you can determine the set of your sail. And as I record this in the middle of July 2022, there is still plenty of time. You could go from idea to having something launched in as little as a couple weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks. Now, for some of you, that might be a stretch. And so I'm going to say in like 45 to 60 days, you could have something launched and online and selling it. Again, we're not talking about a $5,000 highly polished thing, but you could have a $10 offer, a $20 one-time offer, a $27 recurring thing, membership, monthly recurring, which is really awesome, by the way, recurring revenue. You could have that stuff. You can. I'm telling you, you can. Now, maybe you're not somebody that's ready for doing the presentation of it, but you don't have to be on screen. You could do a lot of this stuff. I would encourage you to be on screen at least once in an intro video or maybe your sales video, whatever. But be like, hey, do you like whatever this thing is? I'm going to teach you how to do it better and avoid these 3 mistakes, blah, blah, blah. Join my course, join my membership, blah, blah, blah. And then the rest of it could literally be just you doing voiceovers of slide presentations in PowerPoint or Google presentations or whatever. You don't always need to be the forward face of your thing. And really, there are even opportunities. I'm hesitant to tell you this because some of you will try to hide behind this, but there are things where you could even be just like a pseudonym. You know, you could be like Joe Minecraft. Now, maybe you shouldn't use the name Minecraft because it's probably trademarked, but whatever. Mind builder guy, and do a whole thing about Minecraft and creating stuff on Minecraft and like never show your face and just be a voice and do things behind the scene and have them animated or whatever. Yeah, you could do that too. Pretty much for every excuse you could give me or any excuse you're thinking about right now, I could give you a reason why that excuse is not valid, because I'm just seeing this happen more and more and more. And we're seeing more and more people, quit their jobs, or what they call it, the Great Resignation here in the United States. More and more people are quitting their full-time corporate jobs and doing stuff just like this because the creator economy is growing, and it is not too late. You have not missed the wave. The train has not fully left the station. Whatever analogy you want to use, there is still so much opportunity, and there will continue to be opportunity because every time something new comes out, there's an opportunity to teach people about it. Like with cryptocurrency and stuff, like if you wanted to teach people how to open a crypto wallet or do whatever, you could create courses on all that, and something new is going to get released in this month and next month, and something new comes out, and Facebook launches something new, and Amazon launches something new, and there's new software that comes out, and you're like, hey, I can show you how to use this. You can even show people how to use free stuff and get paid. I pay this young lady named Brittany Joyner. She's a thing about how to use Trello, and I love Trello, and I love to use it, and I'm pretty good at using it. But I pay her, I don't even know how much it is per month to get her Substack, which is just like a paid newsletter service that's set up. And every couple of weeks, she sends out some stuff and says, like, here's some new tricks in Trello. Here's some new tricks, blah, blah. I created a course years ago called the Coaching Results Dashboard, which was showing people how to build coaching dashboards inside Trello, which at the time was like totally free, and it was free for all of your coaching clients. You have to pay for it now, and it depends on how you want to set it up. So I don't have that course for sale anymore, but I was literally getting paid in a course showing people how to use a free piece of software that was out there. Okay. So like if you could do that, if I could do that, if you have an idea, if you have a hobby, like you can teach it and get paid. I'm telling you, you can. And that's what I want you to consider doing, and then stop considering it and just do it. Because that is how you will control the set of your sail that will help you navigate whatever happens in the economy. All right, instead of you being reliant on your job and then not getting a raise and then maybe even getting laid off because the company is trying to batten down the hatches a little bit. I'm starting to see that a little bit in some of the economic news right now. Instead of worrying about all that, which is really stuff that you can't control, take your time, effort, and energy into controlling the set of your own sail by creating some courses or memberships or something that you can monetize online, because when you do that, it gives you a tremendous amount of freedom, and it will most definitely help you unleash your awesome on the world. See ya.
Thanks for listening to Unleash the Awesome. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And please share us on your favorite social media platforms using #UnleashAwesome.